Hello, everybody. This is Andrew Alvarez, and I am the Latino conservative. Hello, everybody. This is Andrew Alvarez, and I am the Latino conservative. Coming to you this week from Victoria, Texas, my hometown. And this episode is brought to you by me. This is me. This is the best coffee mug ever. There's no better way to start the day than a nice hot cup of coffee. And man, this mug makes it taste awesome. You know, like those shoes that used to make you run faster? This mug makes coffee taste better. And after you finish your cup of coffee, you're ready to go out in the cold and brave it, the South Texas winter. I got a hoodie too. I'm going to leave a link to both of these in the description below. And I do want to say a thank you to everyone who has already purchased a hoodie from me. These are going to fund my campaign. 2022, Andrew Alvarez for Congress. That's right, I'm going for the big show, baby. And I'm here to represent you. So speaking of representing, let's get right on to the episode. Impeachment. I'm sick and tired of it. Tired of hearing about this person said that. This person did this. This impeachment inquiry, for one, it's not going to go past the Senate because the Senate is all Republican and they're not going to oust a sitting Republican president. Two, this is the biggest waste of $40 million ever. You know what we could do with that $40 million? Let me bring up one point on that. Something I am passionate about. Homeless vets. According to HUD, there are 40,000 homeless vets. You know what we could do with that $40 million in those 40,000 homeless vets? We could make them not homeless. That's right. We could pay their rent for about 10 months, maybe 12 if you find a cheap enough apartment. Or you could maybe pay half a year worth of rent, pay a cell phone bill for them for that 6 months, pay internet bill, something that'll let them find a job. But no, we're busy wasting all this money on this impeachment trial. And quite honestly, it's not going anywhere. So whether you think Trump was wrong or Trump didn't do anything wrong, it's still a waste of money. $40 million, come on. Lotteries don't get that high sometimes. If I had $40 million, I probably wouldn't be making this podcast right now. I'd be out on a boat. It's a waste of money. I can't wait for it to be over. My second point is, let's talk about a little girl. Little 16-year-old girl that was brave. And yes, I say she was brave. Greta Thunberg, however you say her name. The climate change activist. She won Times Magazine Person of the Year. Good for her. Absolutely good for her. She came over on a boat, back to the boat, go figure, to talk to us about climate change and protecting the environment. Now, I know a lot of people, and myself included, are going to say, well, climate change isn't that bad. Well, it took a lot of me thinking and me remembering. Back in high school days, I used to be in the drum line, for those of you who know me. We used to be out in the middle of the summer, the Texas summer, practicing on a blacktop pavement parking lot. That was our football field. We'd be out there for hours a day. Try to get that done now. My goodness. There's a lot of high-level groups that do that in a group called Drum Corps. But those are people that are pretty much professional musicians. They call it the Major League of Marching Arts because these guys are out there. They're physically fit. I was a fat, tubby 300-pounder in high school. These guys are fit. My point is, when I look at it now, when I look at it back then, in the 90s, late 90s, I'd be ignorant to say that something isn't changing. The climate is changing, weather patterns are changing, or something. But either way, this is an important issue. I had my daughter create a shirt for me, a design for a shirt, and this is kind of when it really opened my eyes that while it may not be important to some of the Republican, quote unquote, adults, it's definitely something that's important to the young people. My daughter, she's in junior high. Her shirt that she designed said "Save the Planet" on it, which I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. But she's a teenager, and that's important to her. There's also another young man that I talked to. He's a debater. He's a great debater for his age. And we've brought up the term climate change. So it's important to him too. It's important to young people. So if it's important to young people, it's important to me. So while I don't think it's as extreme as some people say it is, I do know that it is an issue. A lot of Republicans will tell people, or a lot of conservatives, I should say, will say, well, when they get older, they will understand. When they get older, they'll see this point. Well, back in the 80s, it was acid rain. Back in the 90s, it was the ozone layer that was going to burn up the world. All of those, actually, if you think about it, point to climate change. I'm not saying that we have to go out and make huge changes, but I do believe we need to do something about it, something to at least protect the environment. So these people are saying, well, it's not that important. It's not that important. Well, yeah, it is important. And as a Republican, someone who is running for Congress in 2022, I still need to figure out how to get those young voters because 16-year-olds will be able to vote in 2022. I know this. I'm not ignorant to that fact. Not saying just to get votes, but in general, I like to be a voice for the people. And if these young people really care about the environment and that's an important issue to them, guess what? It's important to me too. So maybe we stop places like Alcoa from dropping a whole lot of beads, plastic pellets in the Port Lavaca Bay. And I'm not just calling out a single entity like that. It's just something that I saw in the news. So yes, I think we do need to do that. Also, something else that the environmentally conscious people think about that may not be as environmentally conscious as they think. The hybrid cars. Now, I'm a car guy. I've been selling cars for quite a while sometimes. I know a lot about these things, about cars. So you buy a hybrid car, you feel good because you're saving the environment, because you are not using as much fuel. You buy an electric vehicle. Well, the electric vehicles, I will admit, they're nice. Teslas, gorgeous vehicles. Environmentally sound, not so much. Maybe right now, but how about in the future? Those batteries that both of those cars contain, they're going to be waste in 10 years. They're not good. That's their shelf life, 10 years. So you're dumping batteries, loads of lead and acid and plastic in landfills. And guess where that goes? Back into the environment. Oh, not to mention the carbon footprint it takes to make those cars. Let me touch on the hybrid vehicles for a little bit because, I come from the Honda world. We have some great hybrid vehicles in the Honda world. Those vehicles are generally more expensive than their non-hybrid counterparts by quite a bit, substantially. So not only are you hurting the environment with the carbon footprint that those have producing it and that they will produce, you're paying more per month on your car loan, which in turn is negating the fuel savings that you're getting. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying to not buy a hybrid vehicle, but if you're buying a hybrid vehicle just for economic reasons, nah, don't. If you're buying it just to save the environment, don't do it. There are some nice ones there though. Like I said, if that's your choice, by all means, do you. Back to this little girl. I'll just touch on it real quick. Some people say she's an actor. Great if she is, awesome. But you know what she did? She brought something to light. She brought something that is important to a lot of young people, and we adults need to take charge and need to start doing what these little people care for, because you know what? Their rights matter too. Your rights don't start when you're 18 years old. Your rights start when you're conceived. Topic number 3, Social Security. Yes, I'm going for a big topic here. It's broken. No other way I can say this. It is broken, but every single politician out there is afraid of it and they will not address it because it is a beloved system by many. It is broken because I can put in thousands and thousands, heck, I can put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into a Social Security account that is supposed to be mine for when I retire, but I get maybe a max of $1,500 a month off of that, maybe $3. I think I heard the cap was $3. I don't know for sure. I'd have to research that. But still, either way, even if it's $3,000 a month, and I've put in hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, that's not fair at all. I should have the right to invest that money into an account if I want to. And if somebody isn't that good at saving, then by all means, let them use that. But let them also get all that money back. Because if someone puts in hundreds of thousands of dollars, they retire at 65 and they live for 5 more years, they've got a surplus of money in that Social Security account that should have been theirs. They worked for it, so if they passed away, that should be an inheritance to somebody, but it's not. It stays with the government. That's something that needs to be fixed. Along the lines of welfare. A lot of people rely on welfare. A lot of people rely on welfare that don't want to work. If you can't work, that's one story. I totally understand that. And as a nation, I think we should take care of those people who can't work. But those who won't work, no. You're stealing. You're stealing from me. You're stealing from everybody. Legalized theft is still theft. So get a job or be prosecuted like a criminal. One of the two. I know of quite a few people actually that do that. They live off the government. They choose not to work so they don't lose their benefits. That's insane. I know of people who want to work, but they can't work. Yeah, they still get their benefits, but they want to be a contributor to society so bad that it causes them depression because they can't. I also recently read a story about a guy who was autistic. He tried to get jobs. He couldn't get a job. He wanted to work at a coffee shop. This is where I say no excuses. He wanted to work at a coffee shop so bad that he started his own coffee shop, and it was pretty successful. I also see workers with Down syndrome who shouldn't be able to work, but they choose to work and they retire. They retire from, McDonald's, Whataburger, wherever their jobs is, and you know what? They kick ass at doing that too. They are the best at what they do. And now they're retiring after working a happy job. So yes, I think these people who work all this time to contribute to their Social Security, all these years that they work, even the guy who started his own business, he's going to contribute to Social Security. They need to get all that back. They need to quit letting people who choose not to work get Social Security. Medical. Yes, I'm hitting big topics, guys, I am. But specifically insurance and pharmaceuticals. One, there's no reason why a drug that hasn't changed in decades should rise in cost. Insulin. $300 a month is a shame, dude. It should not cost $300 a month to live. I should not have to make the choice between buying food and living. There's plenty of stories out there where people decide to buy food or maybe use half of their insulin because it's so expensive and they can't afford it. There's some insulins out there, the fast-acting insulins, that are thousands of dollars. That's insane, guys. That medicine hasn't changed in decades, so why has the price? Same thing with benefits. Insurance costs a lot of money. However, with car insurance, if my cost is getting too high, my premium is getting too high, guess what? I can change my car insurance. Why can't I do that with medical insurance? Why do I have to wait once a year to do that? Unless I decide I want to get married or have a baby or something like that, which there's no reason why I should have to wait to that to change my medical insurance. If I'm dissatisfied with my cell phone service, I can cancel and change. If I'm dissatisfied with my electricity company now, I could even change that. Why not my medical insurance? And why does it cost so much to buy some prescriptions? Who's really getting paid for that? I know I'm not. And I know if I were to make and win a seat in Congress, I still wouldn't. I wouldn't accept any PACs from those guys either. It's a disgrace. Hey guys, thanks again for listening to me. My name is Andrew Alvarez and I am the Latino Conservative.